Welcome back. I am your host. I am attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560. The Answer. I am here with my co-host, my nephew, my very good friend, Jim Leahy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back from the commercial break. Stay tuned to this wonderfully programmed program.
Yes.
I can't speak, man.
Have another cup of coffee, Jim.
I'm going to have to.
Okay.
It's been a rough day. Ladies and gentlemen, we record on Friday, air on Sunday, as you all know, as our avid listeners know. So, we might be a little bit behind on the news, but not this segment, because this one is important. It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog. That's right. We're doing the blog segment, and this is the one.
I was going to say that music never gets old, or maybe it began old, so it never gets older. I really like it.
Yeah, I know you do. Never really grew up with Perry Mason. I did, though, in the Godzilla movie, in the original the original Godzilla movie. Fun fact
Raymond
about
Burr.
that movie, Raymond Burr, actually, that whole movie was, there was a Japanese version and an American version. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
The Japanese version was like very anti-American, so the Americans picked it up, and they cast Raymond Burr, so there's a bunch of scenes. Yeah, it's re-edited. Yes.
Did not know that.
So there's two films, and they tried to make it so it's the American version isn't as...
so it's a big hit.
Yeah,
wouldn't be a big hit in
it
America.
was Japan made the movie because it was anti-nuclear bomb. Of course, they would be.
That's what made Godzilla. Without nuclear weapons, there
History
would be no...
shows again and again.
There would be no Godzilla.
How nature shows...
Whatever.
Whatever. Godzilla. Anyway, it's the blog segment.
Okay,
so start it off.
Yeah. The blog is...
I'm waiting for you to speak.
The blog this week is titled, Surprise! Your chances of paying the IRS less is better than ever.
Really?
Yeah, and that's true. Okay, let's go on to the next. Now, here's why. Here on this show, I often talk about the 6 things you can do. You can only do 6 things if you owe the IRS money, right? First thing, you pay them. Second thing, all installment agreement. Third, offer and compromise. Fourth, you could do a currently not collectible status. Fifth, you could file for protection under bankruptcy law. And sixth, the thing you're probably doing is you can continue to do nothing and let the IRS do whatever they're going to do. And then panic when they're doing it and then contact me. But
I do that best.
You'd be better off to contact me first before that happens, before all this other stuff happens, liens, levies, garnishments, because that's when it gets really dicey. And it's harder to stop that, and that's when it has the biggest effect on you. So think ahead. If you have an IRS problem, don't let it get to that point. Don't let it get to where you're getting garnished and liened and all that other stuff. Call me first. But if you have it, let's talk about the third, this one I'm going to talk about the third thing, which is the offer and compromise.
Okay.
And the offer and compromise, remember, that's a lump sum payment. They agree to take a lump sum in order to settle your IRS debt. So you don't make payments. Technically, you can make payments for 12 months or 24 months, but small payments. So you don't pay.
How small is a small payment?
Well, I said my best example is we had a client that owed $50,000, a little bit more than $50,000, and we settled that debt for $25.
Wow. Can I get that sprawled out between a 12-month plan?
That was, we had to pay 20% down. So whatever that was, $5 or something. So then when they accepted it, we had to give $20. So they gave $20, and it did settle.
Did you give cash? Right? Can you talk about that?
Just wrote them a check.
You wrote him a check. Could I give cash in that situation?
No, because the IRS never takes cash. They always,
why is that?
Because if they put it in the mail and send it to them in an envelope, somebody will put it in their pocket and say they never got it. But anyway, I
could pay in cash, but it's not smart.
So it sounds like and who out there with an IRS problem would say, That's not the answer I want. No, I want to pay lots. I want to pay every dime I owe. Nobody says that. So that was part of the problem with the offer and compromise is that you hear this on the radio all the time. Pay pennies on the dollar, and then they give you an example like the one I just gave you. But that's not the typical example. I mean, that doesn't happen for most people. No. While it does happen to some, it doesn't happen for most. And so these outfits would always sell that. I always tell people that's an easy sell, right? If you sit down in my office, I owe $100,000 to the IRS. Would you like to pay him pennies on a dollar? Yeah, where do I sign up? But that's not the way it works. And historically, the numbers were pretty bad for offers. They didn't they didn't accept a lot of offers. So, for instance, in 2004 or 2003, only 17% of all offers were accepted. So because they were very hard, because the IRS really, first it was very hard on your expenses. They would disallow all your expenses. So it looked like, now remember now, this is not just you go up and you say, hey, would you take 10%? Would you take 20%? Would you take 30%? It's a calculation. Right? They have a formula that they put together in order to decide what the offer is going to be. And that formula is really about your disposable income, and disposable income is the difference between my income less my reasonable expenses is defined as disposable income. So they look at that number.
So it's basically A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
C squared, yes. Quadratic equation. I don't think that's not the quadratic equation.
No, that's the
whatever.
Pythagorean theorem.
Don't get me going on. You know I love math.
I paid attention.
You do know I love math.
That one day I paid attention.
So that's okay. So anyway, so they look at that disposable income, and then there's a multiplier. Well, used to be before this, and we talked about this on the show, is the IRS Fresh Start Initiative. And before the initiative, they'd take that disposable income and they wanted it for 60 months, which is 5 years. You give us 5 years of disposable income and we'll settle your debt, even if it's less than when you owe. Uh-huh. But a lot of times that wouldn't be less than you owed. It would, so then you couldn't get an offer.
Okay.
So they would deny it. And they also wouldn't give you all your expenses. So your expenses were too high, and then so the amount that they would settle for was more than I owed. So again, they wouldn't give me an offer.
I wouldn't give you an offer just by looking at you. And
then the third component is they look at your assets, and they add any assets that you have to that number disposable. But now what's going on is in 2014, almost 40% of all offers were accepted. So more than double. It's gone. So it used to be I would tell people, you don't even want to really go to an offer. Because that's what a lot of these outfits would do. You hire them. They say, we're going to put an offer together, knowing you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
And they charge you for that offer, and it would take a year or longer for them to be denied. And then they'd say, well, you're denied. Now you're right back where you were. Now we could charge you again for the remedy that really is going to work, even though they knew it wasn't going to work before. Okay, so I don't do that at our office. We always give you one flat rate fee, and then we come up with the remedy we know is going to work.
How can you pass that offer up?
Yeah, so we don't. I'm not coming back after you all the time. Say, hey, now you got to pay again. You got to pay again. You got to pay again. And again, that's why these outfits did do that. And some of those outfits, these were national firms, are now out of business. They were run out of business by the attorney generals in a lot of states because they were cheating people because they knew it wasn't going to work. But again, they've changed a lot of the parameters. Now they only look at 12 months of your disposable income or 24 months of your disposable income rather than 60 months. So now that number is going to be a lot smaller than it used to be.
Of course.
So now people could come up with that number, and the IRS is accepting it. So they are accepting.
So it seems like they're moving along with passing more legislation to help the common man
they're trying to get this resolved, exactly, and instead of having the IRS over your head all the time. And in a way, this saves the IRS money because these people who are coming up with offers, they can prove I'm never going to be able to pay you, and you're going to be in the system for all these years, and there's somebody working on it, and they got to pay someone to work on it, and it's in the so anyway.
So it's a win-win situation.
It is a win-win situation. So now an offer.
How can I be a part of this win-win situation?
An offer is not right for everybody, but again, it's coming more and more that it is a way out, and so but you have to complete an investigation. I always tell people, if somebody tells you they know how to solve your problem without first finding out what the problem is, they're probably lying to you, right? So we don't do that. We got to start with an investigation. So we got to figure out where you are to find out where you want to go. Okay, so we know where you want to go is a remedy. Which road are you going to take to get to that remedy? And that's either an offer or these other things that we talked about. So anyway, that's what I would suggest. If you're having an IRS problem, call me, and we will figure out which ways to go.
This is what you do. This is what Opem Tax Resolution does. for not only just, the comment, but for the Chicagoans.
That's right.
Think local, stay local. This is a local attorney. Why go anywhere else?
I agree.
Opem Tax Resolutions, 312-664-6649, or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. Remember, that is going to be your central hub to help get out of your financial situation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because after the commercial break, more IRS Radio Hours coming at you on AM 560.
The Answer.